Okay, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to episode 5 of the AI Analyst with me, Andy Cotgreave, and some other guy called Francois. We'll introduce him in a moment. If you are new to the channel, welcome along. My name's Andy. I worked with Tableau, with Francois at Tableau for a long time, 15 years. Since then, I've written books about dashboards and data applications. I write on Substack and write about all things data analysis, the impact of AI on it, or what about charts you find in the movies, basically data communication, all themes. And I also stream, obviously you found the AI Analyst, so thank you. And I also do chart chat with my book co-authors, where we talk really nerdily about how to make a pie chart work and whether y-axes should ever be truncated. So join in. You can subscribe to my... Oh, I've got the wrong widget there. Let's just put my newsletter. That QR code is to my newsletter. So do go subscribe if you want already. But today is not about me. It's about a new kid on the data analytics block, a new kid called Golden. And I'm delighted to be joined by Francois. Francois, tell me, what is your role, Francois? Who are you?
Hey, Andy. I can't believe you called me a new kid on the block. It feels like retro now. I should be doing a little dance.
Please feel free. This is your...
Nobody wants to see that. Well, hi, everybody. It's great to be here with you, Andy, and it's great to have my first ever AMA. My name's Francois, and I'm the CEO and founder of a brand new company called Golden Analytics. But before Golden, I was the Chief Product Officer of Amplitude. I was also the Chief Product Officer of Tableau and one of the early product managers way in the early days when nobody knew Tableau. It was Tabahoo. And prior to that, I was at another small company called Microsoft on the Excel team, the SQL Server team, and part of that at Cognos. So just a long time in the analytics space. And I've had the privilege of seeing data evolve from, IT-driven analytics. That was like Gen 1 of analytics. Then self-service analytics ushered by Tableau and Click and Power BI. And now I believe we're in Gen 3 of analytics, which is the AI-driven analytics. We are innovating, we are inventing, and we are all learning together what is possible in this new era.
All right. Well, what a great intro. So this is an Ask Me Anything. Some people have already been submitting questions to a Slido. If you want to ask a question, this QR code, wherever it is, point to it. That is there. If you want the URL, then you can go to dtdbook.com/golden. It's all lowercase. And we can ask Francois. Well, actually, we haven't discussed what is the limit of what we can ask Francois. So he has contractually agreed to ask him anything.
I think it said anything, so there are no limits. As long as it's PC.
Yes, PC, right. So use the Slido or just use the comments. We can certainly, if you're on LinkedIn and YouTube, we can see those. So the first question I had, because I think it's a great one to start with, is, so Francois, what is Golden Analytics and why in 2026 do we need another new BI platform? Are you even a BI analytics platform? BI? What is it? Yeah.
Well, I just think of it as we're building experiences for data. The market might be called business intelligence, but it's really about experiences for data. So Golden Analytics is an AI native analytics platform. I use the word AI native deliberately because if you think of the technologies that were born prior to the LLMs, they're bolting on AI. It's, the way the test to look at it is if the LLMs were to go away, would the application continue to work? And with Golden, we are building on the LLM. The LLM is our silicon. And that means that we have tremendous new capabilities that we can take advantage of. But it's not about delivering just another chatbot. It's about delivering experiences tailored for data. So the whole premise of it is, what does AI native analytics look like? But there's another aspect of it, which is that a lot of times when you're doing analytics, you're spending so much time formatting the data, presenting the data. And you've written this a lot in your books, is how do you communicate data? So we thought, well, what if you could also combine the idea of data storytelling, or what we call Canva for data, integrate into here? But finally, the key thing is, if you think about what these AI tools are doing, they're all about making analysts the heroes. It's about making an analyst be a 10x analyst, 100x analyst. It's about empowering people, giving them new superpowers. And so we think about that not in terms of AI replacing the human, but really augmenting the human. It's about giving them what we call a slider of autonomy. And that's a term that I love to use, because it allows you to say, look, AI is not replacing everything. You're always in control. You can do things manually. You can let the AI do a thing and you can modify its results, or you can let it go completely and automate it all. You're always in control.
So I before we started, I said I had a question that was going to come last. And actually, you've now just brought it to the fore. So this slider of autonomy, that was going to be the last question. Explain more. What does that mean? It sounds exciting. Have you just got a big slider on the interface that?
No, there isn't. The slider is more of a design principle than a physical slider. And actually, I'm not the one that invented that term. It actually comes from the AI community. If you've heard of Andre Kaparthi, one of the founders of OpenAI, now at Anthropic, he came up with this idea of autonomy sliders. And we're applying it to data. But let me give you a couple of examples. A really, really simple one. Let's say you want to write a calculation. Well, you can write the calculation manually. Simple. You can say, hey, AI, can you suggest calculations for me to use? Boom, it creates it. You can still modify it. Or if you don't even know what it is, you can just type what you want the calculation to be, and it'll write it for you. But you can still modify it. So it's a really simple example where you have all the control and you can choose what you want. So another example might be, think of self-driving cars or just cars. You can drive, you can go in cruise control where it'll adjust the speed. You can have lane assist where it'll kind of drive along, or you can say, look, I'm going to be fully hands-off and it's going to have a level of autonomy. But at any time, you can always take the steering wheel and recontrol. It's the same spirit adopted to data.
There's so many follow-up questions. Right. I'll go. Steve Wexler, very good. Hi, Steve. Is it a good name for a band? I was thinking more of an album. It sounds like an album name, but certainly that's a good starting point. We want to see if anybody wants to compose and write Slider of Autonomy.
Well, our demo data set is called Golden Records. So maybe we need to have some Easter eggs in there, or golden eggs with album names that we choose. I like that, Steve.
I love it. So this, right, I want to talk about it because I've played a lot with Golden. Full disclosure, I'm one of Francois' advisors. And I think one of the challenges we faced in this AI analytics and application world is, where should the AI appear? Right? I think for the first few years, everything is just in a co-pilot somewhere off to the left, right? Now, you and I know from our knowledge of how we work and where we're looking in attention blindness that if I'm looking at a chart, I don't want to then look over here to have to then deal with the AI, right? I want to do it in place. And that's something that, that's built in, right? Tell me about how you've tried to achieve that.
Well, the AI isn't a mode that you go to. It is just infused everywhere. So when you interact with the application, maybe behind the scenes, it's going to use AI, but it's exposed in a natural way. So it can happen when you click directly on the chart. It can happen in menus. It can happen all over. A related question to that I often get is, well, what models do you use? Or what's the prompt? And the reality is we use a constellation of models. We use all the models. We use the best one for the job at hand. And we use not one prompt behind the scenes. We use hundreds of prompts, each one tuned to the specific task. And so it's just kind of another different approach to using AI is, again, it's not a mode on the side. It is just everywhere, omnipresent in the application, helping you move forward.
Does that, I hear a lot, or I read a lot more, that much more people are more sensitive to token cost. Is that is that a challenge? Because hundreds of prompts equals possibly thousands of tokens, and suddenly your Claude build's gone huge. That happened to me last week.
It's crazy, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, yes, it's a huge problem in this industry. And one of the questions we often get is, well, can I just vibe code dashboards? And of course you can. But what happens at scale when you do that? Well, you have your token costs, because every question, you need to bring all that context into memory. It can be expensive. We had one customer who ended up spending $100 for one dashboard. And then they had 300 analysts doing the exact same thing across the organization. They just said, like, this is crazy.
Wow.
What ends up happening is when you're doing your vibe coded dashboard, let's say you're using Claude, you're probably using Sonnet for everything. Oh, just change the color to green. Great. Sonnet, the most expensive, like actually Opus is the most expensive model, but an expensive model. What we do is, because we know all the tasks, I can optimize every single prompt, every single query for what we need. Some tasks need to be fast. Sometimes tasks need to be deep and thoughtful. But I can use different models and essentially arbitrage the price based on quality, speeds, right, and costs.
Yeah.
So for us, we can actually be, when you're a tailored application versus a generic application, we can use the right tool for the job, right? If you have a hammer, everything looks like a nail.
Yeah.
We actually have a whole tool belt to use.
I'm going to get onto the questions that have been submitted in a minute. Are you at a stage to talk about pricing yet? So is pricing?
Sure.
So yeah. So does heavy usage lead to more pricing based on AI usage?
No, we went with a really, really simple model, which is per user per month. That's simple. We don't care how many tokens you use. That's included. We don't care whether you're a creator or viewer. It's all included. It's that simple, right? Simple. Any questions?
Yeah, well, keep the questions coming in on Slido or on chat. Let's go to, so MP's submitted a question. Why should we be an early adopter of Golden? What is the incentive for us to use this rather than any other of all the AI tools? And I think you've touched on that already, but you know, we've all got access to Tableau, Power BI, Claude, Looker, ThoughtSpot. Oh my God, here's another one, right? So why? Yeah, tell me.
I mean, it's the same thing for any technology. It's not tied to Golden. Is when you're early, a few things happen. Number one is you actually have more influence on the future direction of the product. Because as you use it, you can actually provide feedback directly in the product about things that you think would be good. Second is it gives you an advantage in the future. If this becomes successful, you now have built a set of skills that differentiate you in the marketplace. But I think ignore the product and ignore the vendor. For you, if this is a tool that helps you be more productive, deliver more value, that's the reason. Right? It has nothing to do with Golden or the tools. Is it solving your needs? And we believe that from what we see from our early customers, we can solve it so much faster with less frustration that you're going to save time. You're going to be more productive. You're going to be more of a hero at work. And that's what makes it worthwhile.
I think you gave me access to Golden maybe in January. And
you got it very early when it was very buggy.
But there was one piece of feedback I gave you, and you know, about should it be dashboard or communicate on that final page, and that changed, and I felt amazing. I was like, wow, I've influenced the product, because I can tell you, the last 3 years at Tableau or at Salesforce, I was not in a position to influence anything, and it was very frustrating. So MP, thanks for that question. Jason asked, Some departments simply want an export to Excel. Many BI tools offer limited features in this area. We've lived it for 20 years together, Francois. You can build that pretty dashboard. But
that's right. I've lived it for 30 years. The number one feature of every BI tool is still export to Excel. And guess what? We have it too. We have export to PowerPoint, PDF, Google Sheets, Google Slides. We also have export to Excel and CSV and Google Sheets.
Yeah.
Our goal is not to prevent people from doing things. We want to allow them to do whatever they want. And that, I think, is really important. It builds trust. Like, here's another thing we did. A big question people ask is, hey, can I see the underlying SQL behind the chart? Yep, you can do that. You can do it on a sheet or whatever you call it, an analysis, or you can do it on a dashboard. We want to be as transparent as possible. So yes, is the answer.
That's fantastic. How do people connect to data? What can people connect to in Golden? And is it like a traditional BI approach, or does it live in Golden? Or tell me how that works.
So there's some nuance to it, but it's actually really simple. If your data is in a cloud data warehouse, so Snowflake, Databricks, BigQuery, Redshift, the data stays in the cloud data warehouse. We don't create extracts. We don't import the data into the tool. We just query it in place. And that's really important because it keeps the data alive. It's always up to date. All the security rules apply. Now, if you don't have one of those things and you have data in a CSV, Excel, Parquet, JSON, we can just connect to it and then it imports it into behind the scenes. We basically use DuckDB as our engine and we can query it. And then the entire experience is browser-based. There's no thick clients, there's no desktops, just runs in the browser and it is fast as hell. Like, it feels so different and it's fast.
I agree. Can I draw a scatter plot with more than 3,500 data points on
it? You can. It gets slow. There's still things that, like, when you still try to render 1,000,000 points or 100,000 points, it can get slow.
I mean that was always one of our things in Tableau, wasn't it? It's like, you can show all the data and Tableau will render it, right? But browser-based rendering has limitations.
Yeah, but the technologies have improved significantly. And I think that's part of the advantage is if you were to shed all the things that you used to do, I mean, you take a tool like Tableau, was born in 2003. Think about that, 2003. There was no AI, there was no cloud, there was no big data, no Snowflake, none of that stuff. And so they made decisions at the time which were the right decisions. But if you can do it for today's technology, I think it opens up a lot of opportunities. And it's not just a Tableau comment. Power BI has the same. Looker, I think, took a slightly different approach to be more browser-based, but I think that gives us a lot of flexibility.
Excellent. Some comedy comments coming in. Somebody said, boo, export to Excel. But then another LinkedIn user said, I love that it's not just Excel, Google Sheets for the win. So, I mean, therein is the challenge of this business. It's like there is no fit for all, is there? And
there isn't. And I always like to say, well, why do you have to export to Excel? Is there something the tool didn't do? And sometimes, yes, and that's a feature for us to build. But sometimes it's just trust. I want to see the data. I'm familiar with Excel, and I just want to validate it's right. Great, awesome.
It was an amazing journey going through the sort of 20 years I was involved with Tableau, and then the academic research is just all about supporting just the reasons why people like that trust in seeing be able to touch every single cell of a table. So good one. All right. What did you get? We got some industry comparisons one. So an anonymous user asked, how is this better than Omni? And another anonymous user asked, how is this better than Hex? I suspect that was the same person asking two questions. But, so Omni, Hex, Golden, and industry positioning.
So somewhat apples and oranges between all of those. So let me try to tackle in different ways. First off is just from an architecture standpoint, we are AI native, right? So if you think about that, it gives you a lot of capabilities that aren't necessarily available in other tools. The speed, the flexibility that you get, all integrated in one platform, is where I think Golden really shines. Pun intended. If I look at something like Sigma, Sigma is a phenomenal tool. What they really built as a connected spreadsheet in the browser. That's its forte. If that's what the use case is, Sigma is better than Golden for sure. But if you want more than a connected spreadsheet, I think this is where a tool like Sigma may go down. It's not to say it's not a great tool. You'll see me actually praise the competition quite a bit. But that is just a different point of view. We have much more of an integrated experience. Sorry, that's Sigma. Omni is much more of a modern looker, right? It's a semantic model. That's their forte. That's their strength. If you need a semantic model, that's not one where we are trying to go compete with. But what we're trying to do is embrace the semantic models that people have. So if you do have one, say in Snowflake or in dbt, we will leverage it versus other tools like a Power BI that's actively said, we do not embrace anybody else's semantic models, right? They've created a closed ecosystem. We are an open ecosystem. And then tools like Hex, I'm a huge fan of Hex. I think they've done an amazing job. It's a really great product. But really, their origin story is around data science and data engineers. It's a modern notebook. So if you like to write Python and you know what a pandas is, Hex is a great tool for that. That's not who we're targeting. We're trying to target everybody else in the organization that needs data but doesn't necessarily have the technical skills. And I think that today, with a lot of the advancements in AI, right, more and more people are going to be more capable without requiring that technical necessary foundation that's there.
Yeah. Cool. That's good. Yeah. I mean, I think that goes back to something you said right at the start, is learning together. I mean, we've been around a while, right? It's so disruptive. Nobody really has a clue what the right what the endpoint is going to be, which is, in fact, right. So I see that as being obviously exciting for you as developing a new tool, but it's pretty scary for a chief data officer, right? How do you advise somebody trying to make a strategy when the stability is gone really from the industry?
I think
predictability, maybe not stability. Yeah.
Well, my view is it's moving so fast, you have to lean in. You have to have a learning mindset versus a closed mindset, because that's how you learn what makes sense for you and your organization and where the breakpoints are. We had the same thing at the beginning of the cloud. If you remember that, people are like, the cloud, no, we'll never do it. I must physically touch the thing. I don't trust it. But leaning in and understanding it will give you an advantage to go build for the future. And those that didn't, maybe like a good example in the vendor space, Teradata versus Snowflake. Well, Teradata was the core vendor back in the day, right? They had the best technology. And then Snowflake just made cloud a core advantage, and they grew. We saw the same thing in other spaces, Datadog versus Splunk. Datadog was cloud native, and they got inherent advantages. But there's other places where you have, and I use technology changes. Mobile is a good example. When mobile came out, everybody's like, I don't need a PC anymore. I'll do everything on my phone or on my tablet. Like, that's the future. We live in an omni world, right? You live in a world where you have different technologies, but you can't imagine not having a mobile app today. You have to have one to be relevant. So I think, these worlds where we say A is dead or this is changing, it's really about how do you lean in to learn, because the market is going there anyways.
Yeah.
Now, in this case, with the models, because we're built on the models, we get to learn first and put it into your hands faster.
I remember when you showed me Visible, you were like, Andy, let me show you something we're working on. So some of the people watching will know what Visible was, but that was
like, what's Visible, Andy?
Visible was a mobile-only data exploration product that Tableau built, and it had some cool mobile. It made great use of mobile interfaces, but alas, it came up, it shone, and it died. Golden. So is Golden optimized for mobile as well? So I mean, just how's that working?
Today, we haven't done that yet. It'll eventually happen.
Right.
We just haven't built mobile yet. We want to make sure that it works great on desktop.
Yeah, fine. Okay, next one. What's your switching cost? Why do I have to move from Amplitude with everything to Golden? What do you offer that beats the Amplitude AI?
I would say, I think we're talking apples and oranges in this case. If your use case is a product analytics use case, Amplitude's the shit. It's the best solution out there. Use that.
Yeah.
Simple as that.
I think yeah. And as somebody said, I think it's a really good. I think it's a really good position to be use case. Find a use case. Once Golden has grown to be a $10 billion enterprise, and you're now selling at enterprise, at that point, you might start going, "We do everything." Maybe.
Of course. Well, over time, you always add more capabilities, but I like to say you have to go figure out where you're 10x, 100x better than the alternative.
Yeah.
In that use case, it's clear, the dedicated apps are better. There are exceptions to that where maybe it's not a product analyst use case. It's a business use case that needs data from product analytics. I'm looking at revenue data that I want to connect to usage data. Well, that data is probably in the warehouse. You're not going to move it all into an Amplitude to do that, right? Yeah. And that doing it in a analytics tool is probably a better solution.
Cool.
And this is where the warehouse native terminology becomes pretty interesting.
Yeah, got it. Okay, let's take one from LinkedIn. So Celia asks, from an administrative point of view, is there a way to view the questions that are being asked for the sake of consolidation, auditing, needs assessment, etc.? Great question, Celia.
Great question, Celia. So that is something that we will be adding in the enterprise plan where you can see all of those things. What's interesting about it is some of the questions are not that helpful because of the fact that it's AI native. It's not chat everything. It's chat when appropriate. So I may create an artifact and I might say, make it blue. Great. Okay. Make it blue is the chat that was added. So that's where we have to think about the right way of expressing it. What we also want to do is provide feedback that comes in. So, even if you say make it blue, did it do the right operation?
I mean, if in order to really be able to log and understand and make it blue prompt, I mean, then you'd have to be logging and saving literally every single context of every single interaction, and that would be computationally expensive.
But Andy, you remember in Golden we have this history.
Yes, I realized as I was asking the question, I was like, but you implemented one of the best features I've ever seen.
Correct.
I wanted in Tableau for 20 years.
But that is by design. So what are we talking about for those of you that haven't seen?
Yeah, sorry.
A lot of analytics tools have this idea of unlimited undos and redos, right? That's great. But they never expose what the history stack is. They never show you how you navigated the app through that. So what we've done is we've essentially created a time machine in the product that allows you to say, oh, I want to go back to this moment in time or that moment, or I want to save this because I want to play it back in the future. So all of that is essentially captured in every session. So I can actually know when you said make it blue, these are the 10 steps they did beforehand and the 50 steps they did afterwards.
I mean, I wanted that for so long in Tableau. It's so good because when you're doing exploratory data analysis, you don't know what your endpoint is, and when you get to your endpoint, you're then just like, well, let's look. What did I do? What did I do? And that was a good point. That was a good point, and that was a good point. And then you can. So, hurrah! I'm happy with that. Right, Jonathan Drummy, we know him.
Hello, Mr. Jeremy.
Slido. A scenario we're seeing is how do I go from the dashboard to a chat with the data and then share out the chat results? How does Golden address that use case? So I'm going from dashboard to a chat and then share the chat results.
So it's going to be a longer answer, Jonathan. I just want to call you Drummy. There's some nuance to that, because sometimes you go in the dashboard and then you want to have a side chat. Say, great, that result, I want to add that back into the dashboard. You can bring the result of your chat in the dashboard if you want to. And that's a thing. Or you can say, actually, I want my chat answer, I want to copy that, bring it somewhere else, or send it to Slack. So again, it's not a separate experience, it's part of the experience. And that's part of the nuance. Is I think we've all been accustomed to they're separate. When you start saying they are in fact interrelated, there's new things that become available as a result of it.
All right, fantastic. And Jonathan, if you want a longer answer to that, I'm sure
you know how to reach me.
I can provide it. Yeah. All right. There was a couple of questions about token cost and LLMs as well. So I'll do two of these. So if token cost is absorbed by Golden, can you bring your own LLM? And then there's another question on and then there's another question on Slido about you talked about using Claude to vibe code your own dashboard, but what about Claude with the MCP technology into different technologies, right? So, I mean, actually, they're quite different questions. But anyway, I'm throwing them both at the same time.
Okay, so first question on costs. Yes, we absorb the token costs. You do not pay for the token costs. That is my problem to optimize. Your price stays fixed. Benefit. If you use a ton of it, great. I have to optimize it more because it's going to cost me more. That is my problem to solve, not yours. Second is, can you bring your own LLM? Today, the answer is no, because we use all the LLMs and we optimize each one. I think at some point in the future, we may need to, especially in the enterprise scenarios where people want to consume that. Hey, that might mean you're going to pay for the token costs in that case because you're bringing your key. I love that for my margins. That would be a great thing to build, but I have to optimize for the experience first and make sure that we're not compromising what's possible for the customer, because now we're using, an older version of Sonnet, for instance, or of Gemini, because we're not using the best and latest. There's a second question, which I think was consuming MCPs. So
compare using Golden on top of an LLMs or using LLMs on top of technology like via MCP.
So then there's three parts to the answer. So first off is when you use Claude on top of your own data, it's pretty phenomenal what you can do. However, there's no governance, there's no sharing. You're basically building artifacts that are standalone, and every time you ask a question, you consume tokens. So that just creates more and more costs. And it tries to please you. Are they trusted answers? Will it lie to you? Will it hallucinate? Those are real issues that you have to deal with. But I think that in many cases, what happens is this turns into the modern spread mart. So remember the old, everybody exports the data to Excel and they create their own presentations, and you have silos of data everywhere. Everybody's just frustrated because the numbers don't match. It's basically the same thing, but you call it Claude instead of Excel. So I think there's some real problems there, and the trust and governance is probably the biggest one, followed by cost, because the cost can be out of control, number one. Second part of the question, I'll say, is can Golden be consumed by an MCP? And the answer is yes, we will have an MCP for Golden. So you can be in Claude and say, explore my metrics. Great, it'll do that. And then third, because we are an AI native application, we Golden will be able to consume any MCP that you have. So any application that is exposed as an MCP becomes a data source and context source for Golden.
Is that available now, or is that a roadmap?
Hey, Andy, for everybody, everything I'm sharing is roadmap because they haven't seen any of it.
Sorry, I forgot.
I know, you're just an early. But this is something that we have, and it's pretty incredible. But you can't do that if you're not AI native.
Yeah. We will at the end be talking about how you can get on the wait list and go in. get involved with Golden as of when it goes GA. Right, where are we at? One more from Slido, and then I've got a bunch of comments on LinkedIn and on the live stream. So, can custom visuals be created in Golden? And are these similar to Power BI and Tableau?
So today, the short answer is no. But we ship with 40 plus visuals out of the box with a lot of formatting options. What I tried to do is to make sure that anytime you had to go write a hack, it required an article to explain how to create the thing. I think that's a failure of the software. So we just built those in. One of my favorite hacks was Andy's lollipop charts. Hey, do you know how you create a lollipop chart in Golden? You press the lollipop button and you're done.
Oh, I'm very flattered. I didn't invent the lollipop chart. I did invent the name. I named the lollipop chart. And
well, you know what? I have gladly put lollipops in the product in your honor.
Well, that's awesome. All right. Okay. Let's go to some of the comments. There's great questions coming in, by the way, and we've got up to another 25 minutes. So keep them coming. Nate, who are the users day to day?
Well, user one is the analyst. We want to make the analyst extraordinary with data. We want the analyst to feel like they're 10x, 100x analysts. Like that's user one. And the more that we make them productive, the better. However, we are not limited to the analyst. We expect the business users to be consuming things, whether they're consuming dashboards, documents, slides, asking chat questions, consuming it through MCPs. I think anyone that has questions and data is a target user, but not everyone will consume it in the same way.
All right, so there's two follow-up questions which link to that. Mr. Mark Bradbourne, CBIP no less. I don't actually know what CBIP stands for, Mark, but I'm very impressed. Do you see this as a departmental solution at this point, or are there plans to push to enterprise scale? So you've elaborated on some of this, so maybe expand.
We're absolutely going enterprise scale and as fast as we can. In fact, our early adopters are primarily enterprise customers with massive deployments that are coming to Golden. There's definitely more functionality we have to go build to fully get there, but absolutely we're there. But just like we've seen in previous generation of tools, the land and expand motion is extremely powerful. Yeah. Like you can get started with one user. Amazing. You can scale that to 5 to 10, 2 departments, 5 departments. It doesn't matter. So unlike some tools that come in, they're the enterprise, you must buy everything or don't use it all. We just basically believe in our customers. Use what you need.
Yeah.
If you want more, it'll give you more. Great. But the success is more important than the license.
If enterprise is a gorilla, what's the land and expand animal? What are we?
A monkey, a cheetah. Actually, it's a cheetah. It goes really fast.
All right, brilliant. There you go. Love it. Henry, I'm going to
Henry from NSC.
Family. Yeah,
that's family from NC. Yeah.
Right. Okay. Again, right. So I think this goes back to who is using Golden. So what is storytelling within Golden? And to me, that question also demands the answer. How do I create something? How do I share that with the world?
Bonjour, Henri. Thank you for joining. It's always good to have family in here. Doesn't make me embarrassed at all.
Have you just gone red?
I've gone red. I think it's the lighting in this room.
That's the lighting.
So storytelling is actually a core part of the product. And you see it in the product where we say connect, discover, prepare, analyze, and communicate. And we communicate, not build dashboards. Dashboards is one form of communicating your stories. And people want to communicate in lots of different ways. Dashboard being one, documents, slides, etc., being others. So we want to make that really easy. Within the product, we have a story generator as well. So the AI can suggest different stories that exist in your data that you can pull together In fact, I posted on LinkedIn a couple of weeks ago a story with my wife where she gave me data that she was playing with, and it pulled out some really compelling stories that she had no idea even existed in there. And then it built a fully fledged dashboard that she started using. It's incredible. So I think that is key. How you share, well, you can share directly in Golden. You can share as a static artifact in PowerPoint and Google Slides, PDF. You can also share directly with Slack with one click. Say, great, share it with my team. And I'll go in a channel or a DM and you're good to go. So sharing just should be easy.
Will there be a Golden public?
At some point, yes. I say, and I said at some point, the first task is we have to make it great for customers that pay, right?
Yeah.
And if we can prove that, then of course, a public is an incredible thing because sharing and community is absolutely amazing. But you want to do it at the right moment, not too early, and when there's enough demand to want to do it.
Awesome. We will all wait with bated breath. Mark tells me it's a certified business intelligence professional, which sort of I feel embarrassed. I probably should have known that.
Mark, did you get that in the 90s? That feels like an old cert.
Well, he does say it's an old cert, right?
There you go.
You know, you've got a grift on LinkedIn, haven't you? But Steve says certified badass in progress, so I think probably a little better. All right, back to the questions. I got it right. I've lost my track. How is sharing handled across the org if individuals are asking similar questions? All right, yeah. Well, I guess, yeah. Is there an efficiency or a method that Golden sort of tracks what's hot and what isn't?
Well, so there's nuance in this question. I think first, like sharing across the org, the way sharing works is we have a concept. We call them spaces, but they're really like channels you have in Slack. Just take that same approach. That's how you share. Yeah, public channels, you have private channels. Mm-hmm. As really simple as that. There are facets in there where do you want questions that span these channels to be part of the reuse or not? So we haven't tackled that yet. Currently, we say if you're in a space or channel, right, that is what's limited in there. But the idea is that over time, this is not a static solution. It's a solution that continues to improve the more you use it. And so this idea of leverage and learning is going to be built into the app. Mm. Again, we're starting with the individual analyst that will then scale pretty quickly over time.
Fantastic. Okay, and can you back to price? Can you announce pricing yet?
I'll announce it in a week. But I'll tell you that it's very affordable. I'll tell you that it is, if you're familiar with Power BI pricing, which has gone up significantly over time, we are in the same ballpark of being quite affordable, especially at scale.
Very good. And what did you just say about a week? What was that?
Yeah, I said in about a week, we'll tell you what the price point is.
All right. Okay.
Yeah.
Just
you know, read the tea leaves.
Right. Okay. Yes. All right. Excellent. Yeah. There you go. Yeah. All right. We've still got time for more questions if you've got any. I mean, one question. Let's sort of go away from the actual product. Francois, you and I have had a great working relationship for many years. You've been CPO in lots of places. Just what's it like? Just tell me a bit about the personal moment when you're like, you know what, I'm going to make my own. And what's it been like being CEO and founder?
It's been amazing. It's been truly incredible what has happened. As I think about everything I've been building, it feels, I mean, I've never worked as hard as I have, which I've worked hard my whole life. But it almost feels like an out-of-body experience, like seeing this all come to life. I talk about the defaults, like in the past, the defaults were always like, no, or here are the reasons we can't. Now the defaults are, yes, how can we make it happen? And all of the problems that I've seen over 30 years, we can just make them go away. Like I can finally solve the things I've always wanted to solve. And that is just so rewarding. And I remember at the beginning of this, I wasn't planning on building a company. I wasn't planning on, actually, I don't know even what I was planning. Was I retiring or was I going to go work somewhere else? And I started playing with Cursor and Claude at the time. And I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. Finally, an AI that empowers people, that makes people feel like 10x engineers, that makes non-engineers feel like engineers. Like, holy crap, that's amazing. But why doesn't the same thing happen to data people? Why do data people have to have the crappy tools where everybody else has the better tools? Like, that just sucks. And out of that frustration, I said, well, what would it look like if they had better tools? Like, instead of just being frustrated, let me go solve it. And as I was working on it, I started sharing it with people. I think I shared it with you, a few friends, a few investors. And everybody's like, wow, this is amazing. Like, nobody else is approaching it the way you have. Like, this feels magical. This is a gap. Like, why isn't anybody building this? I said, fuck it, I'm going to build it myself. and that was it. And I just started working on it. And it has been one of the most rewarding things that I've ever done. And we're still very early, early. But the feedback has been spectacular. The wait list, which I know some of you are on the wait list still, we're going through it, but we want to make sure that, you know, we're working with AI. Like, we want to make sure that it's good, it's trusted, that you have a great experience. Holy crap, the number of people on this thing is mind-boggling.
So I still want to, what was the moment where you were like, you had to go and have breakfast with your wife and say, this is what I'm doing, and then have that conversation? You know, was there a specific moment, or did it sort of, because it's a big commitment, right?
It is. She just said, do what you love. I see the passion in you. I see what it looks like when you're just not into it. And here I was like, every day I was like yelling at her going, hey, come here, check out what I built. It's incredible. She's like, well, like, what? And I just like, that enthusiasm is amazing. And so she has been extremely supportive, you know, helping me go through all of this. And I have to say, I'm not necessarily the easiest to deal with in this world where I'm working 20 hours a day. And I wake up at 3 a.m. with ideas, and I have to get them done before 7 a.m. Like, it's amazing.
That's brilliant. I think that this is probably the right place to begin wrapping up, right? There are a couple more comments, but I think, Francois, you can go answer those directly on LinkedIn. So my last question again, tell me about the team you're assembling, right? You know, is this Avengers reassemble, or is it a new Avengers? And what's it been like finding the people to fit this moment for this application?
Another part of the rewarding thing, and like the team and the culture and the company building, it's so cool. So I brought on people like Andrew Beers, who was one of the first engineers of Tableau at CTO, and you know, he has been an incredible partner on this. I brought in an early Snowflake developer who helped build Snowflake, is now helping us build Golden. I brought in people that worked at Grammarly and Atlin and Apple on the team. So just a nice, diverse set of people. But I think that part of what I'm trying to do is to bring people that have this different mindset. Is yes. By the way, am I frozen? There we go. Yes, like, we're building AI. Like, I want people who are leaning into the future, not recreating the past. We're not recreating the past. We're inspired by the past. There's an homage to the past, but we're leaning in to the future. We want people who think differently, who aren't just trying to follow the herd and, you know, just do the status quo, is really lean in. And I think this is where our cultural values really come in. So we're being very picky about who we bring in, but we're bringing people who have done incredible things and are ready to take on another challenge. And many of them don't need to do this.
Yeah.
Many of them have had successful careers, but they're seeing this and saying, wow, this is it. Like, this is special. We can go create the next special company, the special product, but delight people in a way that we've always dreamed of.
Yeah, I mean, I think the team you've got are great. You've got like the wisdom, you know, the long beards, right? But then the young enthusiasm, like they're just like we can do anything.
Yeah.
You're like, actually, that's you, right? We can do anything. So that's fantastic. All right. So Trevor, Hans, Dom.
Do we want to go lightning fire?
Lightning time. Okay,
fast?
yeah, here we go. Right. Can Golden consume Tableau PDSs?
Today, no.
Right. How do you ensure proprietary data is not leaked via the training LLMs?
We do not train on data. We do not send your data to the LLMs. We only use metadata in statistics, period.
All right. GDPR.
We don't do it yet. Someday we will have to.
Yeah.
And UTF-8.
Yes.
There's a UTF-8 thing there. There's a lot of data nastiness that we still have to go address. I think we do UTF-8, UTF-16 already, but I'm sure that there are bugs in the product that we will have to address. Right. But thankfully, we ship fast. You don't have to wait a quarter for a bug fix. You normally get it pretty damn quickly.
I tell you what, being involved behind the scenes is so much more fun than working for a big enterprise piece of software. You're like, this isn't working. Oh, now it is. Great. Fantastic. All right. So to steal the first we feast style, look into the camera, Francois. Tell people what's going on and where should they go to find out more.
All right. Well, go to goldenanalytics.com. Sign up for the waitlist. We are soon going to be getting more and more people off the waitlist, but that's the best place to be. And then if you're at events like the Snowflake event, Databricks events, you can come and meet us there in person. We will do demos and answer all your questions. And of course, you can follow us on LinkedIn or at Golden Analytics or on Twitter at Data Rockstar.
Oh, gosh.
Oh,
you're still on that.
Yes.
Right. Excellent.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I think our time is up. So there's also the QR code there if you want to get that, will take you to Golden. Francois, it's been absolutely fantastic. It's been a pleasure to be involved behind the scenes for a few months. I'm really glad we've been able to bring this live to the AI Analyst. So to Francois, thank you. And to everybody who's signed in today or watching on demand, go check out Golden. It's built to make everyone extraordinary with data. What a great thing. Brilliant.
What a great tagline.
Yeah.
Thank you, everybody.
It's the best. Yeah. Take care, everybody. See you all soon.
Thank you.